St. Petersburg. I was speaking to Zambian Socialist Party President Fred M'Membe. Now, he says the participation of African states at this summit is a demonstration of their push for sovereignty and independence in this multipolar world.
Many people have been discouraged to come to Russia.
Sorry, you just said many people have been discouraged.
To come to Russia, yes.
But who? Who was discouraging people to come here?
Those who want to dominate the world. Those who think only their way is the way.
Are we going to name names, or should we just say professional partners in the West?
The USA.
The USA. Well, you said it, not me. Okay, all right.
I've said it, yes.
Yeah, you are, yeah.
Many have been discouraged. Coming here is a demonstration of our independence. We take our own decisions. We know who our friends are. And we have the right to choose our own friends. Nobody should choose friends for us. We are here in Russia today to demonstrate that. Changes are taking place in the world today. The world cannot continue to be dominated by one country, one group of people, one group of nations. They want governments that are favorable to them. They want puppet governments in Africa. They are sponsoring them through all sorts of foundations, all sorts of fronts.
That's right.
Yeah. But these governments, we know, a puppet government can never deliver meaningful economic development to its people. We have seen it across Africa. We have seen it across the world. What is needed is sovereign and independent governments that arise totally from the people. We have the right to choose our own governments. We should have the right to choose our own leaders.
Well, Russia's foreign ministry spokeswoman, Zakharova, she actually took out the time to basically slam Western European countries for ignoring the will of their people and becoming colonies of Washington. Extremely strong words, not mine. Have a listen for yourself.
Western countries, which have always been colonizers, have become colonies themselves. This is an amazing historical process. This has never happened before. Countries that have been empires for many centuries and dictated their will to another continent have now voluntarily delegated their independence and sovereignty to such structures as, for example, NATO, under the will of Washington. They simply do not exist as sovereign and independent players, and now are all tied to each other by some strange obligations that do not reflect the will of their people and do not reflect their national interests. When a decision is made collectively, but without taking into account the interests of those whom the decision will affect, this is called violence. Do you understand? And now we come to the question regarding what to call these countries. We call them the West, the collective West, and who stands at the head of the collective West? We call them the Anglo-Saxons. Because it's not about America and not about Britain. It's not about the people from the USA or England. This is about the political elite who behave like this.
Well, it's been not just a pleasure, but a real privilege, too, for all of these guests who have been pouring through the RT International temporary studio here at the Russia-Africa Summit 2023 in the Venice of the North. It's been so many speakers, so much commentary, and wonderfully as well, so many of the heads of state here have volunteered themselves to be essentially interrogated by the press. Journalists everywhere at this convention center, we're like mosquitoes. You just can't get rid of us. So let's learn more. Cross live to RT Africa correspondent Nolivoyo Konge, who's now joining us here. In fact, Nolivoyo, I know you were watching Maria Zakharova with Oksana Boyka as they were taking questions from the press. I know you had a chance to ask Maria a question about the BRICS group as well. There's an awful lot to unpack in some of the very strong statements that were made. What were some of the highlights that you can tell us about?
Absolutely, Rory. In fact, most of this conversation was indeed about the relationship that already exists between Russia and Africa, and even a growing one between those two. And most importantly, and I guess the biggest